The Fault in Our Stars. You may be wondering whether or not you should read this book, so I'm going to briefly explain the book to you and tell you whether or not you should read it. So as most of you may know, there is a movie recreating the book, and you're probably thinking, why not just watch the movie instead of reading the book? But from my personal experience, I have watched the movie and also read the book, and the book is 1,000 times better. I really loved the book. You feel like you're riding along with the characters. It's a much more emotional ride than just watching the movie. So a bit of background information about the book. So the book is about a girl called Hazel Grace and a guy called Augustus Waters. So these two people, they meet in a cancer group, where the cancer group is a kind of a group for people that have cancer to kind of disentangle their issues and just kind of make them feel better about themselves and happier. So Hazel Grace is in a much worse situation than Augustus Waters is, as she is much iller. So pretty much the book is about these two people and they fall in love. So the book is all surrounding that idea as they go along through the book together. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the introduction, conflict, and the ending of the book, conclusion. So the introduction for me was personally really powerful because right from the first paragraph, I already really wanted to read this book. So I'm just going to read the first paragraph. Late in the winter of my 17th year, my mother decided I was depressed, presumably because I rarely left the house, spent quite a lot of my time in bed, read the same book over and over, ate infrequently, and devoted quite a bit of my abundant free time to thinking about death. So that immediately pulls me into wanting to read this book. That is you have an idea of what this girl is like, sad, doesn't really have friends, but you don't really know what's going to happen. So I really wanted to find out what was going to happen to this girl, so that's why I read on. So that's what I thought about the introduction of the book. As for the climax, I really liked it because that's really when Augustus and Hazel, they really share a bond and they fall in love. So pretty much the whole climax is about them getting to know each other better and becoming better friends. And the conclusion is the only part of the book that I absolutely hated. Spoiler, Augustus dies in the end, which is extremely unexpected because from the beginning of the book you think that Hazel's the one that's going to die, but at the end it's really Augustus. So I really thought that was a really sad ending. I didn't like it at all personally. So I would just change that, but besides that, the book was amazing. So now for the conflict. There isn't much conflict in the book. The only conflict that there is pretty much Hazel Grace and Augustus Waters against the malice cancer. So the cancer is the bad guy and Hazel Grace and Augustus Waters are the good persons. So protagonist, Hazel and Augustus, and the antagonist is the cancer. So other characters in this book, there is just a few. There aren't that many characters in the book because it's all revolving around Hazel and Augustus. There are a few, like Peter Van Houten, which is Hazel Grace's favorite author, and Hazel Grace's mom and dad, but not much besides them. So the characters, in my opinion, do go through a major change. Let me rephrase that. Hazel Grace goes through a major change. So as I read from the introduction, she seems very sad, but near the end of the book, she is happy and then she gets sad again. So she goes through this kind of emotional roller coaster where she starts off low, depressed. She gets happy when she meets Augustus, and then she gets sad again when Augustus dies, which is a really big emotional ride for her. And yeah, because she is also extremely complex because you never know what she's really thinking. She's kind of closed-minded. She doesn't really like to share like her thoughts out loud. She kind of just writes them down. Unlike Augustus. Augustus is really out there and he'll just talk whatever he feels the need to talk. So this is everything that I think about this book. I think that you should definitely read this book. I have read it twice and watched the movie and I absolutely love this book. I would rate it a 9.5. The only reason I'm giving it a 9.5 instead of a 10 is because I hated the conclusion. I really wanted them to end up together and happy, but instead Augustus dies. So this is what I think about this book. I hope you guys read this book. So thank you very much. Bye.